Hi, good morning, everyone. Happy soul-filled Sunday. And please excuse my voice, excuse the dark circles. It's been quite a week, and this is my first live video since um, this shift in my life, my family life. I lost my father last week. Um, but in losing him, I gained um, another earthly angel, heavenly angel. Um, okay, so I wanted to get on today and teach really quickly about the resolution of the gift. Um, that is uh, the astounding message that has been put in my spirit, and I want to use actually what I've been going through this past week as an example, because I am a teacher, right? So, and I always use my experiences to share and try to be a blessing to other people and to teach, right? So, okay, so the first thing is I have been for the past month consumed with a lot of eating, right? And overeating and junk food eating, because that is what I do when um, it's an old habit. It's an old familiar habit um, of dealing with things. Okay, some people smoke, some people drink, some people have sex. I eat. It's just what it is. So when there's a trauma in my life, historically, I've taken to food, and as you can see from all of this under here, it's not changed, and it's okay, right? So even in overindulging and overeating, I recognize what I'm doing, and I'm like, okay, Stephanie, you gotta stop. But it's amazing how, even though you know you have to stop, that you made it past doing that. Something can happen and it'll trigger you to kind of return to an old behavior, right? So when my father passed away last week, even in his last days, because we knew these were his last days, that like it started then, right? So once the prognosis of this being his last weeks to live, that's when it started. And I was still battling, going back and forth, So I would make wise choices and then not and make poor choices. So when he passed the transition last week, um, it it all culminated, right? And then people started sending food to the house, and sending cakes to the house, and baskets to the house. And, me, I just found myself there. And then I stopped, right? And I did what I teach, and I took a deep breath, and I just got centered and focused and did my countdown backwards and really started accessing or assessing how I was responding to what had happened, what the events were. And so once I started doing that, it was like, okay, let's come back to the reality of who I am, whose I am, and the God that's in me, and the God that's omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient, and all knowing God and creator, and how all things work together for good for those who love the Lord and are the called according to his purpose. And I really recognized and was able to resolve that I eat through pain, but really pain doesn't belong to me, right? The Bible says that we are to cast our cares upon him. So I was like really kind of saying, okay, it doesn't have to be this way. I have a choice. And the choice is to behave as to go back to who I used to be and how I used to deal with things, or be the person who has evolved through and past those things. Because there were other times when trauma presented itself and I didn't respond that way. This is my dad, and I'm a daddy's girl. And then I realized how our talks and our time together, and that really the gift when you can look at the gifts of what is going on, or the gifts you receive in the midst of the trauma, or the midst of the sadness, or the midst of the occurrence, when you can focus on the gifts that were brought as a result of having an interaction with this person, a relationship with this person. Because sometimes, people go through divorce and they go through traumas when they lose a relationship, a love relationship. When you can tap into the gifts that the relationship or the person has brought into your life, then you really can change the chemical reaction and the vibe that you feel. So it's been a week, only a week. And yet, even in speaking to my mother last night and speaking to my sister yesterday, there's a certain type of calmness and peace that enters in. And there is a peace that surpasses all understanding when you cast your burdens and your cares and your fears and your anguish upon the Lord. Meaning, if you can send them into your Christ consciousness, if you can defer them and move them out of your person, physical, and put them onto the spiritual side of who you are, the spiritual connectedness of who you are, then you release the energy, you release the weight of the pain and anguish out of your person, so that you're not creating toxicity inside through sorrows of your body, and you're leaving it into the ethos, into the atmosphere, into the spirit of things. Understanding that, the gift is, my father was with us long after we thought he would be, and we got a chance to spend time with him and take care of him and love on him and have him love on us and have discussions. I had a great relationship. He was wisdom personified. He was my first investor, to date, my largest investor. And so I hold on to the gift of those. And then as I started moving through this and understanding the lesson, I went into the situation with my son who's in a coma, and understanding that what has kept me is the gift of who my son was when he was well, and all the things he did for humanity and for this family and in our love relationship. And then I moved on to resolving some issues from the past, past relationships, people who have reached out because of what happened to my dad, and understanding that if there was anything that was not dealt with or resolved, it could be resolved at this time, and is resolved at this time, when you realize the gift of what the relationship brought, of who the person was in your life. So today I just wanted to say to you ladies that when you're going through rough times, when you're going through hardships, when you're going through trials, when you're going through tribulations, when you're going through challenges, when things are presenting themselves financially, emotionally, health-wise, physically, or even with your friends or business partners, or if you're struggling in your business, if you can take those feelings, okay, and re-ascribe them to understanding the gift and focusing on the value and the upsides and the benefits and the gifts and all of the rewards that were brought into your space, your knowledge, your education, your skill set, your business, your home, your household, or even in your who you are in character. Focus on and ascribe to the benefits and the gifts of what was brought as a result. And if you focus on those things, it takes away the sting, and it takes away and uproots the actual grief or sorrow or rejection or regret that you may feel, and it dissipates it. It really does. It dissolves it completely. And we're not robots, right? But we'd rather struggle, we'd rather suffer than to struggle, right? So human beings are creatures of habit. So we'd rather stay stuck in the story, stay stuck in suffer in the martyrdom of our version of events, than to move on, move past them, and struggle with things that we don't recognize or don't know yet, or are unfamiliar with, or are out of our comfort zone, into a new ecosystem where you have to then start over to either prove yourself or walk in a new direction and walk a new path. So in order to make it from here to there, you're gonna have to move. You're gonna have to progress. You're gonna have to do something different. You can't do what you've always done. You can't return back to who you used to be. You can't go back to what used to be, because that is then and this is now. And if you go back to who you were and what you used to do and what you're accustomed to and what you're comfortable with, then you're going to actually put yourself back into the situation and the results that you used to have, which are clearly not enough, because if they were enough, you wouldn't desire or strive to do more and be more. And so in that, we cannot live in regrets. Like, I know that for a big part of me, there were certain things I wanted to do for my father while he was alive, and I won't be able to do those things. However, I can still accomplish and do those things and now make them happen. And he still, in spirit, will see it, will understand it, will recognize it, and will be proud of it, because he's still here in spirit. He's just in a new dimension. He's just in a new place. And so I think sometimes we don't realize that even in relationships that, let's say I'm divorced, I'm twice divorced. So I'm divorced, and even in those relationships with my ex-husbands, whom, by the way, I get along with both of them, right? The first one, I was married to the longest 10 years, and it was really, really hard. We had a very tumultuous relationship. It took a long time. It took longer to get the amicability between us right than it did for us to meet, divorce, and hate each other, right? So what happens is, when you're able to really resolve things in your spirit and in your person and in your emotions, you have to really be able to recognize the gift. So I recognize the gift of what my ex-husbands and ex-relationships brought into my life and brought into me, and even in my growing and my maturing and learning things the hard way, and sometimes through pain, it still made me who I am today and a better person. And once you can do that, you take away the adversary or the enemy's ability to have a window or a thread to yank and pull at your rug, right? And to yank away everything that you're building and weaving as the foundation for what you're going to become or provide. So it takes away his ability to pull that thread of pain or thread of sorrow or thread of regret. So when you walk away from things and turn your back on them for good, and you emerge from them, okay? Not distance yourself from them for a time in a fake healing, but a true measure of being made whole, so that you are outside of the circumstance. You really don't have pain when you come face to face with the person, with the occurrence, with the situation ever again. There is no sorrow. And so how we can resolve and heal those places is to, one, be kind to ourselves, be compassionate and forgiving and non-judgmental of ourselves. And then we can enter into a space of being compassionate, forgiving, non-judgmental to the people, the situation, and the circumstances that have happened. And when we can do that, we enter into a place of really having true joy that's authentic, and true peace that is authentic. And we don't waver to and fro, back and forth. And we get to a place where we can say we're happy. And I'm gonna tell you, thank you. I'm so grateful, and I thank God that I had my father as long as I had him, because some people don't have that even. And I feel peace, even though he's no longer here physically with me. I'm at peace. I'm at peace. I'm at peace. And my job is to continue to be his legacy, as only he would have me be, as if he were watching, because he is, as if he were here, you know. And it's the same thing with God. You know, everything I do as unto God, it's unto the Father, because I want my life to be met with living out the purpose and destiny God had for me when I was born. And I want the same thing. I want to live the life that my Father purposed and wanted for me and destined for me. And so it's my obligation to do that. And I want the life that I'm destined and purpose to live as my children's mom, as my mother's daughter, as my future business partners and collaborators, partners, as my hustle mama tribe women need, you know. So I just wanted to get on real quick. Number one, because it's my first live video since losing my father in this earthly realm. I'm really careful about my words because I feel he's with me even now. And because he was always into Hustle Mama, he was my biggest fan. He loved Hustle Mama. And so, and we talked every single morning and countless times a day. So that part will be a change. But no matter what, ladies, I just want you to know that you can emerge from sorrows, you can emerge from sadness, you can resolve everything from your past. You can make whole again any broken heart. You can make whole again any hole in your spirit. And when you make whole that part of you, the sky is just the first step. It's not the limit. You can do so much. I hope you ladies are enjoying the tribe. I'm going to be posting a lot of stuff today. I have a lot of work to catch up with. It's been a week. And if you are joining the class in March, the turbo classes, thank you for those who have registered. I'll be having different topics and different turbo classes for the entire year. So every other month, I'll be having a series of turbo classes. I will live teach. I will be live teaching. If you can't make the live classes, it's okay. I will be selling the replays of the class. Of course, there'll be more money, but I will be selling the replays of the classes so that you can have access to them. And then if you are in the live classes and you're purchasing the replays, good for you because you'll get them at a discount. I really want this to be a community of joy, of sharing, of support. I want this to be a community of learning, of education. I want this to be a community of dreaming big. I want you ladies to dream as big as you possibly can dream. I want you to learn as much as you can possibly learn. And I want you to be supported as much as you can possibly support it. I was a single mom, and there was a lot of times where I didn't have the means or the ways to do things. And I always wished I had to wait until I worked enough and saved enough to go after and learn things. And I didn't want that to be my environment. And also for those of you who are going through change in your jobs, through coronavirus or changes in your dynamics, your career dynamics, I want you to understand that when you come back to the gift and you focus on who you are, what God has given and purposely ordained you to do, that you absolutely will tap into what it is you're supposed to be providing to humanity and the world. I believe in marrying absolutely your spiritual gifts and your spiritual essence and who you've purposely been ordained to be into your business practice and into what you do for the world, because nobody says it has to be separated. Why should it be separated? If that's what God has given you as a gift, a skill, and a talent, then he has made provision for you to do that, to influence humanity and bring his purpose for your life and his purpose and bridge to blessing others through you. And never forget that you are purposed for great things. You are purposed as a good person to do great things, as a great person to do good things, and that there is nothing that you are tasked to doing that you will not have the opportunity and the ease to do it. And if nothing more, please always keep, hold on one second. Thank you, Father. Always keep in mind that you were born from love, that you were created out of love, to be loved, to do love, to impart love, to share love, to inspire and infuse love into this world. That is all about love. It really, really is. And when you love yourself and you love others as much, you'll love who you are, you'll love what you do, and you'll just want to keep doing it and sharing it because you know how much it'll mean to other people, and that is how you'll love them as well. So if you have your own boutique, if you have a multi-level marketing business and it has brought you purpose and it has really helped you to walk into your own, if you're a saleswoman, if you create or sew clothes, whatever it is you do, if you're a writer, if you're a coach, really take the best parts of who you are spiritually and infuse it into your business practically. And you will begin to leave your mark and your love and your heart upon others in this world and those who need you most, those who desire and those who are waiting on you. And never forget, when you are tapping into the best parts of who you are, always have a pure heart, because when you have a pure heart, your gifts will make room for you. And you absolutely deserve the value you charge. When people tell you you charge too much, you tell them to go somewhere and sit down. That's what you're worth. That's your price. If that's your price, that's your price. You know, for a long time, I was talking to a hustle mom this morning, and she was saying something. Well, if I make the money, great. If I don't, well, I was like, if you don't, why would you curse yourself and say if you don't? If you don't, you're leaving yourself open to not do it. I used to do the same thing. I used to do that. I used to be that person. Oh, the money's not important to me. I'm not doing it for the money. Stop that. Okay? I do it for the kingdom of God, but the kingdom of God and his righteousness says all other things will be added to me. That means prosperity. That means good health. That means abundance. That means enlarge my territory. That means as great as the sands on the beach, as the stars in the sky, because that's what God said. I'm entitled. I'm entitled to my price. In fact, I'm entitled to 10 times my price. I don't 10x everything because God makes room for me and he does the rest. But a hireling is worth his wages. And you can't expect people to pay your price when you don't pay other people's prices. This is a give and take reciprocal kind of thing. And you have to love yourself enough to know your worth, and then respect others enough to know theirs, right? Without casting your pearls before swine. I wasted so much money. Can I tell you how much money I wasted? And that can get you too. It can get you into a place of sorrow and regret and holding on tight and not wanting to spend money. But not wanting to spend means you don't trust yourself because you made bad decisions with money before. However, when you have healed your heart and you're in a better place and you're a smarter person, then you got to be free again. And that's what I learned. And that's what I learned how to do. I wasn't trusting people for a long time because I had spent money on things that didn't work. And I was like, I spent all my money and then it didn't work. Okay, so what? It happens. So I stopped doing this and I went back to this. And when I went back to this, let me tell you what it does. All right, say you're holding on to regret, sorrow. You're holding on to these things because they mean so much to you. You know, you hold on too tight, you'll destroy it, right? You'll destroy what you're holding on to. So if it's something you love and you hold on too tight, you'll destroy that love thing. If it's regrets and you're holding on to too tight, then it's binding. It's binding you. You don't have freedoms because you're like this. To hold on tight, it takes energy. You got to exercise muscles, and it's all this energy, and it's this fight, right? You're holding on to this. This is what I'm convinced causes disease, right? However, when you open up and you trust and you relax, and you relax your hands and you relax, and you're able to let go. The more you relax, the more you can let go. And when you let go, you're not holding on to anything. Your whole person and your disposition changes. And then you're able to have free hands, and now you can receive better things. You can receive bigger things. You can hold on and be given so much more to hold on to. When you have open hands, you can hold on to more than your closed hands. A closed hands can only fit this little thing that I'm holding on to tightly. an open hand, look how much more I have in this open hand and how much bigger the things are. That's the way it works with your blessings. So hold on to your guilt and your sadness and your sorrows and your pain, and you don't have your arms open enough to get all these blessings. So I'm going to let this go so that I can open up, and with open heart and arms, now I have big things I can hold. And look how much more I get when I let go of the other stuff. So make sure that you are letting go of anything that you're holding on to tightly, your relationships, your pain, your anguish, your sorrows, like they're just they're little things. Let them go, they're little things. And open yourself up to the wonderfully big things that you have waiting for you. All right, I hope y'all have a great soul-filled Sunday. Again, I will be posting stuff. I'm taping for a show today, a television show. I'll share more of that later. But yeah, so I'm shooting for a TV show today. That's why I got my hair done and it's out and it's not in a ponytail. And there's a lot of nice things coming down the pike. I'm so glad you're a part of the tribe. I'm glad you're rocking with me in my early days. Because we about to blow up, y'all. You have no idea. And when I get the exposure, you get the exposure. And guess what? The sky is not the limit. It's the first step, because I take everybody with me, except for ankle grabbers. So if you've been rocking with me, we rocking this till the wheels fall off. Okay, I love y'all. Bye.